Hi, everyone. I am really excited to talk with my friend Bryan Pankratz. He is with Remax Advantage Plus, and something that's really special about him is he has been in this business for a very long time, and it is now a family business. Tell us about that, Bryan.
Yeah, thanks, Erin. I've been doing it 23 years, and the last 5 years have been the most fun because both of my kids, my son Ethan and my daughter Shelby, have joined the business. And the great thing about it is I've been able to teach them a lot of my experience on many different levels and many different deals. And the other good news is they've brought a ton of value to the team, mainly on the technology side. Being my age, I think I keep up on it pretty well, but they're way better at it, and they help me out a lot on that.
Well, and I have found on the lending side that working with a real estate team is so much more valuable than working with an individual real estate agent because with the market moving so fast, it's good to have people who are able to help you when one person might be occupied.
Absolutely, that's kind of what we talk about all the time. Is it, depending on the market, if a house comes on and I think it's going to sell quick and we need to get into it, one of us will get you in. I'm almost always around, but there's times I'm not. So then one of the kids will step up and vice versa as well.
Yep, exactly. We want to talk about the spring market here in Minnesota. It's May 2024, and tell us what's going on in the market right now.
Yeah, it's a different market than I've ever seen. I think it's a good market. I think it's pretty balanced right now. I did write down some numbers. Inventory is actually up a little over 14% right now. So that's a good thing for buyers.
Mhm.
They have more homes to choose from than they did last year at this time.
Definitely. And for a layperson, we say 17% or 14% or whatever it might be. But what does that mean to them in terms of the number of houses that there are to choose from?
Yeah, I was looking at the numbers today. I wrote some of the stats down, and last year at this time we had 6,700, excuse me, homes on the market, and this year we have 1,000 more. We're at 7,700 homes, so 1,000 more homes to choose from. I'm talking to 13 county metro area, so it's
That's
it's it's a big difference. Yeah.
it is huge. What other numbers did you get when you looked at what's going on?
Yes, I looked at the supply, the monthly supply, which tells us a little bit of a different factor. That's at 17%. So we're up 17 from last year, which is just another indicator that um, supply is going up. And I think that's a good thing, especially for buyers. Um, we'll get into the other parts as well, but it's still good for sellers as well.
Right. Yeah. I mean, like you said, it's a little bit more of a balanced market. We've got a market that's good for sellers, but we also have a market that isn't completely skewed against buyers right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What's been happening with sales prices?
Yeah, sales prices are actually up a little bit, 1.5% from last year, which I think some people might find surprising because if total sales are down, um, that's one way to look at it. But sales being up 1.5%, it's that also tells us that it's more balanced.
Right. And it's still good for your sellers who want to sell,
Yep.
but we're not talking about median sales price being 20% higher. So I mean,
Yeah,
it's just
exactly.
a normal appreciation.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
How long are houses staying on the market?
Yeah, that's a good question. Average right now, they're from last year, they're staying on the market about 14 days longer. So they're not selling quite as fast. When I talk to my sellers, the good ones still are selling fast. If it's priced
Mhm.
right and it's a clean, nice property and has meets all the right stuff, they're still selling quickly. But the average home is staying on the market a little bit longer.
Okay. And is that also affecting the sales price ratio, like what sellers are getting versus what they're asking?
Yeah, that number is really close. It's just a little bit different than last year. It's 0.7% less than they were getting last year. So that makes sense. If they're staying on the market a little bit longer, I think some people might price it a little more aggressively and they're not getting that. So then they're doing a price reduction. But it's really close to last year. So a little bit less, but not much.
Well, and for our buyers, that means maybe a little bit more time to think or a little bit more negotiating room, right?
Absolutely. Having a little more time on the market is always good for the buyers. And we are seeing, so if the house is on that first weekend, and there's multiple offers, it's going to be selling for full price or more. If it's been on 2 weeks, now that's a different story. Now we're seeing that the sellers are willing to negotiate a little bit more. They have been on long enough that they're feeling a little nervousness, and so they're willing to negotiate.
Right, right. And has there been a change in the overall cost, like per square foot?
Yeah, yep. I looked that number up too. It's up a little bit. It's up 2.5%. And that's one factor that a lot of people probably don't look at. But on the real estate side, when I'm helping someone price a home, when I'm working with a seller and we're coming up with the right price, that's one factor I look at a lot. And same thing for my buyers. When we find a home and we're going to make an offer, I go back and kind of acting like I'm going to sell it. What do I think this house is worth? And that's one big factor I look at. And so that's up a little bit as well. So that's good for sellers. It's not a huge difference, but it's up a little bit.
Right. Well, and what we were talking about a little bit earlier, and I think is really important to highlight, especially for people who are thinking about buying a house, is now a good time for them to buy a house, or should they be waiting until interest rates come down?
Yeah, people love talking about real estate, so they ask me that question all the time. And the short answer is it's always the right time to buy a house. But really, I think now is a good time to buy a house because what I predict and see happening is when interest rates do start dropping, which sounds like every indication is at some point they will. There's going to be a frenzy, and I think we're going to see a lot of people that have been waiting, sitting on the fence, are going to get back in the market, and then the prices are going to shoot up. So prices being really close to where they were last year, I think it's a great time to buy. The interest rate might not be exactly what you want, but when they go down in a year or two, and you can talk about this a little bit more, they can refinance. I think the quote everyone likes to say is, "Buy your house, rent your rate."
Yep. And you're exactly right. It's during the height of the very low interest rates, we saw so many people competing for houses that they were really pushing the price of the house up. And when we buy the house, we can't change what we paid for it, but we can always change the interest rate if interest rates come down. And so if you can afford to buy a house and you're ready for that responsibility, 100%, don't worry about the interest rate as long as you can afford the payment. Then we'll worry about refinancing it to a more affordable payment when interest rates get better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much for taking time to talk to us about this today. It's really nice to have a good update on the market and to really give some context too to what those numbers mean, because a lot of people will see those numbers in the news and they have no idea that, hey, inventory up 14% is 1,000 homes in the Twin Cities market.
Yeah, exactly.
So if people want to get a hold of you and talk to you about selling their home or purchasing a home, how do they reach you?
Yeah, lots of ways. On Facebook, of course. Our team is called Pankratz Realty Group. You can go on there and find us there. My direct number is 952-270-0750.
Wonderful. Thanks again for taking time to chat with me today.
Thank you. I appreciate it.